I think it is. I mean, apparently it's a cinematic classic or something, or I don't know. I mean, clearly it's a Halloween-esque movie. If you're going to label Die Hard a Christmas movie, you may as well label it a Halloween movie, even though. But because it's scary, and I guess is whatever it is. But I don't get it. It's just I literally, and here I'm not a movie connoisseur, but I feel like on this one I can safely go It, the movie It, Stephen King's It. I think it's wildly overrated.
Now, is it like laughably bad, or you just don't think
it's not even laughably.
It lives up to what it's supposed to be?
It's annoyingly bad.
Okay.
Like, not even laughingly bad, as I was trying to watch it last night. Like, they've got the scene where they're at, like, the Chinese, they're all coming back, all the, what do you want to, I guess, kids, but now they're adults, and they're all coming back together, and they're all at the table together at the Chinese restaurant, and they've all got the fortune cookies, and they open it. I don't want to, like, spoil it for you.
It's okay.
But... And that's actually kind of a disgusting scene. To me, it's kind of a disgusting scene. For most people, it's probably got a better stomach than I do. But yeah, the whole movie, man. Like the whole, I don't know. Last night, again, you had the NBA. And I just happened to have on the Timberwolves and the Lakers and see that come back, which was kind of crazy because I looked up and the Lakers are up like big on the Timberwolves. No Anthony Edwards for the Timberwolves. And of course, no LeBron for the Lakers. But I look up, and the Lakers are up big, and then I look back, and the Mavericks have taken a 1-point lead with 6 seconds to go. And I believe it was Austin Reeves hits a floater in the lane. I was like, wow, okay, that's a good fit. You know, it's kind of one of those, like, lucky I had the TV on to watch the end of it. Obviously, they had the Blue Jays last night. I apologize. I cannot get into your Kennesaw State.
Man.
Mountain Tigers, what are they?
They're the Owls, man.
Okay, the Owls. I was way off.
Who?
So I was like, I'm going to go down a path, and I've watched Hocus Pocus the last few nights. Like, and I've gotten into, all right, I'm into Hocus Pocus. All right, it's going to be a Halloween tradition. But I was like, all right, I will give It, which I've seen multiple times. I'll give It, Stephen King's It, another shot.
When was the last time you saw it? Prior to last night?
Watching it all the way full?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, like years ago. I don't know, 10, 12, like, you know, it comes on Halloween all the time. So you see bits and pieces. You see, I always want to go back and see the beginning. I always want to see the very end. And then you get the middle portion and whatnot. And I just, for an 80s movie, and I get it, like, and I'm not even an 80s movie baby. Like, they would make fun of me for that, like Ferris Bueller's Day Off and, I don't know, all the 80s.
Oh, that's right. You've never seen that, have you?
Yeah. No, I got forced to watch it during COVID.
Because, see, I've always been of the belief the 80s were the best decade for movies ever.
Oh, goodness. No.
I guess we're going to disagree on that.
Yeah, no. Oh, what? You weren't even alive.
Yeah, but I can have the ability to go back and watch those. And a lot of the best movies ever came from the 80s.
You gotta find it. Yeah, but no, Jen made me watch a bunch of those during COVID because we had nothing to talk about in COVID. We ran out of stuff to talk about. So we would have like movie. Okay. I can't remember what it was, Tuesday, where we were doing the shows from the homes and we were doing from our houses. And so they would make me put on a movie like The Breakfast Club or Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And there was one other that's really, really popular. Yeah. Not the Goonies. I've seen the Goonies. Goonies was on last night. But it was a slow sports night, but when you get the Blue Jays to get out in front the way they did, and that's, are you surprised by this? Are you surprised that they've bounced back the way they have from that 18-inning loss?
No, because nothing's impossible in the postseason. I will say what Trey Savage did last night was unbelievable. Yeah. Keep in mind, brought the stat up earlier, that is his 8th career start. Oh, wow. Not 8th start this year. He did not join this roster until September. Right. He was playing at ECU a year ago. This guy just went out there and pitched 7 almost flawless innings in the World Series. He outdueled Blake Snell in Game 5 of the World Series on the road in L.A. He's 22 years old. Unbelievable. What an incredible story. The bullpen for the Dodgers let him down in Game 5, just blew it after Shohei pitched a pretty good game. They were still down 2-1. But the bullpen blew it. But there has been, and especially that 18-inning game, some really
good pitching performances.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Shohei the other day, Tuesday, was really good and was down 2-1, but he was matched.
Yeah.
I mean, this has been the teams get their runs, but you still kind of feel like, man, these have been some good pitching duels here.
And look, runs, home runs, all that stuff, that's exciting. And the Blue Jays jumped on pretty quick with the back-to-back home runs there in the first inning to get out to the 2-0 lead. I enjoy elite pitching performances, especially in the postseason, because that's where you're not supposed to be able to get that far in the postseason without good pitching. And I love seeing a performance, even though it was a little more one-sided last night. I love seeing elite pitching performances like that in the World Series. Like that. And again, I'm not rooting interest one way or the other. I guess most people are rooting for the Blue Jays because most people hate the Dodgers. But we went into this the other day. Like the Dodgers, from a player standpoint, aren't very hateable. It's just the organization itself. But, man, you see a performance like that last night. No walks, 12 strikeouts, no walks. Like, just phenomenal.
Game 6 will be in Toronto tomorrow night, Halloween night. So you can put on your costumes. You need a bunch of candy and come back and catch the final innings of that. And, yeah, I think just seeing a franchise not do it, this is me in baseball. I think not seeing a franchise do it for what is that going to be 30-some-odd years.
93 was the last time.
Yeah. After back-to-back. After going back-to-back. Over the Braves. Was it the Braves and the Phillies or the Phillies and the Braves? I think it was the Braves then the Phillies, if I'm thinking correctly. But that's kind of what I'm – and they've also kind of – they've gone from worst to first. They've kind of come out of nowhere to do this. And I love stories like that because it shows you in sports, it's not always the teams with the high money that can get the job done.
You're basically taking on the team with the highest payroll or right up there with the highest payroll that obviously won it a year ago. And they're also they've got the 3-2 series lead. If they win tomorrow night, they win the entire series. I love when teams win in front of their home fans.
I do too.
When the Braves won the World Series, it was in Houston. They celebrated in whatever they call that stadium now. And that's cool because you still won, but I love it more when you can celebrate in front of your home fans. You get the pop from the crowd, when the coaches give or the manager's giving the speech, the crowd's going crazy, MVP, and all that kind of stuff. It's always odd. And look, there's always going to be a segment of fans in the stadium of the opposing team. So, when the Braves won, there's a bunch of Braves fans that crowded around and celebrated, but it's way better when the entire stadium is full and can embrace that moment because it's in your home park.
What you just said cracks me up. And, how old are you?
29.
Okay. It's not like we're huge here on age. But there's a 14-year difference, and it actually cracks me up because when you said when the Braves won the World Series, I think it was yesterday. I think it was either yesterday or Tuesday. I saw the Twitter clip, and that's why I don't necessarily remember. But it was the day back in '95 when Glavine and the Braves won 1-0.
Yeah.
And so when you said when the Braves won the World Series, I was thinking, yeah, they won it at home. And that was awesome. And you were in Houston, and I was like,
I wasn't born yet.
2021. I was like, 95. I was like, I remember that game, and that was awesome that they won that game there.
I'm speaking from the perspective of what I've seen in my lifetime. I've seen the clips of the 95 World Series win over the Indians. I was not there to experience that.
Right.
So my one World Series experience for the Braves, it was on the road in Houston.
It just crazy. That's, again, that's our age because when you said it, I was going to.
Sure.
Yeah, the Braves won it in home at Atlanta, Fulton County. And then you hit me with Houston, and I was like,
what? I didn't experience that one live.
All right, there's a lot to talk about.
I was born the next year.
Yeah, that's okay. All right, so yeah, they celebrated that victory then, or your parents did. So there's actually a lot to talk about, and I do want to hear people's opinion. I need to know. I like to know if I'm crazy or not on the movie It. Like, am I wrong on this? Is this overrated? The movie Stephen King's It. Is it? To me, it's vastly overrated. Not a good movie at all. 803-404-6100. What's going on at LSU? Or in Louisiana? It's not even LSU anymore. It's just the whole freaking state of Louisiana now.
Yeah, it's getting messy.
Is it getting messy?
Well,
we're going to get into this.
I think it already was messy. And my God, is he on the map?
Oh, he's all over. He's taking
everywhere. I thought the governor being involved over the weekend was interesting enough. But now when he's making proclamations I'm assuming the presser he was at yesterday had nothing to do. I think it was just usual, like, governor giving a statement on something else that he led with the LSU coaching job. Like, now it's getting involved in politics for real. And by the way, he sounds like the governor of Louisiana when you hear him talk.
Yeah, he fits well. That was the problem with Brian Kelly. Didn't sound Cajun at all,
except for that one time.
Well, even that was something. We'll get into that. The Zion Lee thing took a little bit more of a turn, I guess, yesterday. Shane Beamer tonight. Carolina Calls live from Backstreet Bar and Grill. You can catch that with Shane and Todd Ellis tonight. Does Shane have to respond to this? Do you have to respond to this?
Well, here's the thing.
It's technically a violation.
It is, and I'm certain Mike Locksley's going to get.
It's a violation on him, but
yes.
You can't pay a player to take a visit.
But at that point, it's an accusation, right?
Exactly.
They would have to investigate it for what Mike Locksley said. Mentioning the player by name, that is a direct violation. The NCAA will have some kind of punishment for it. It'll probably be a slap on the wrist, but still. If I'm Beamer, though, like, I don't want to risk hurting myself here, I would say he's probably going to avoid it, personally. I don't know if this really gets brought up tonight.
I don't think tonight's the platform, but maybe it is. Because you don't take media questions. I don't. I mean, you take fan questions.
Yeah,
but let's be honest,
questions.
They can get around those.
They can.
I don't know. I'm torn on whether you have to kind of address this or not.
Because it is.
I lean no.
It is accusing you of something.
I'm like 52-48 on this. No, you don't address it. But, yes, you've been accused, and you're basically saying that your program – Mike Locksley's saying their program wasn't good enough to host him for visit. They had to pay him to come. We're going to talk about that.
Yes.
I do want to get in. We never yesterday got into the closing out of games for South Carolina, and that's going to probably be vital this weekend. We're going to get into that a little bit as well, give you a preview of the college football weekend that is coming down the pipe. There used to be a monster game that would be taking place down in Jacksonville. We'll visit that. Florida's got like their whole team out. I saw the availability report. Did you see that last night?
I didn't, but I know there's a lot of names on it.
And they're out. It ain't doubtful or probable or questionable. South Carolina's got an availability report. Just when we start bragging on a player, he shows up on the availability report. We'll tell you about that. And 803-404-6100 is the movie Stephen King's It. Overrated or a good movie? You got a lot to discuss today. We're going to do it with you. It's the Halftime Show. Sonny, one of our favorite listeners from Conway, from down in Myrtle Beach area, weighs in. Okay, Tyler, I agree with you, even though Bill should be the one pumping up the 80s movies. Bill, did you fall and bump your head? I've never heard of anybody from our generation say that about 80s movies. I'm going to have to take your Gen X card and your millennial card or whatever it is you carry.
What is your issue with 80s movies?
Just don't think they're good.
Why? Like, what's the reasoning? Well, is there a specific trait they have?
Yeah,
can I tell you why I think 80s movies are good first?
Yeah.
I think 80s movies are good because that was before, like, CGI and stuff like that got really good to where they told really good stories. Gotcha. It wasn't about the extra effects. You know, the acting was obviously good, but really you had to have a good story in an 80s movie to be successful, and the 70s and stuff. But I think the 80s really hit the peak before we got into, like, 90s, 2000s, where effects started to take over. So I think the 80s nailed that in a lot of their best movies.
Okay. All right. I also think I like a certain genre of movie.
Okay.
And that a lot of those fit all in the same genre that I don't really care for.
And that is?
What would you label like Breakfast Club? What was that? What was that? The Brat Pack that essentially made most of those?
That was Brat Pack was the 80s.
And I don't think I went, I mean, they just weren't, I'll be honest.
Is it like coming of age type of?
Yeah, it's just
because that's what Ferris Bueller Breakfast Club, kind of a coming of age, maturing life lessons type of story type movie.
Like but
that's not what every movie in the 80s was.
Coming to America. Let's see. I'm now rolling through the best 54 movies in the 80s. Coming to America was I can get on board with that. No, 16 Candles. No.
Okay. No Molly Ringwald.
No. Okay. Raiders of the Lost Ark. Great movie.
Sure.
Great movie.
Action.
Let's see. Steel Magnolias doesn't count. Friday the 13th. The Karate Kid. See, I'll give you Karate Kid is the exact one that I'm kind of like, yeah.
Karate Kid's also kind of a coming of age with some action type thing.
Yeah, I'm just very quickly trying to risky business. There's the Breakfast Club at 20. No.
What it was like with 3 of the Rockies made in the 80s?
Rockies are, see, now we're talking.
I want to say the first one was like 78, 79, but most of the Rockies were in the 80s.
Rockies are a little bit different. See, E.T.
No E.T.?
No, watched that once. Untouchables, love that. Is that
about Goonies?
That was on last night. That was on last night too, and it's
a classic.
What's the name of the one with Phoebe Cates where she? It's Christmas time and they give them the little pets that turn into, if you feed them, they turn into monsters.
Oh,
what is that one?
Gremlins.
Yeah, Gremlins. Yeah.
Yeah. Also,
speaking of Phoebe Cates, Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
No.
No, you don't like that?
Nothing with Phoebe Cates.
I think I've learned again. I think what I'm seeing here is because again, Untouched.
I thought Phoebe Cates was supposed to be everybody's crush back then.
Phoebe, I got to look up Phoebe Cates. That's great. Live radio at its best. Phoebe Cates. Okay, Phoebe Cates. All right. Yep, 62 now, huh? How about that? Good for her. All right. 803-404-6100. What all was she in real quick? Fast Times, Paradise. Y'all said Gremlins, Drop Dead Fred, Private School. She somehow made a reappearance in Gremlins 2. Good job for her. 80s movies. How about that? Didn't see that one come. The movie It, though. That's where I'm going with this.
Right. That's what started this whole thing.
Yeah, the movie It. And Rich weighs in. The original It was terrible and wasn't in a miniseries. Yeah, then I think they made it a mini series after that. By the way, Sonny says we should come down to Myrtle Beach. Said you guys need to come down here to Conway tomorrow night. Bring your kids. Well, no.
Because of what Coastal's doing, right?
They played at night.
Oh, they played tonight.
You and I, well, you don't know this. Previously, before I got sick, and went out, we were going to be down there today. They play Marshall tonight.
Right.
They play Marshall tonight. Things fall through when you get sick and you spend 3 weeks in the hospital.
That's very true.
803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in. Let me get to a few of these real quick, and then we'll go to the phone lines. Vince weighs in, and I don't know if it's a mess. He says the mess going on at LSU, don't you just love it? I don't know if it's a mess.
Do you love it from for one, it's entertaining, yes. Do you love it from the standpoint of where you think this will prevent them from making a great hire that will keep LSU from being at the top of college football?
It doesn't help that Governor Landry insulted the agent who controls definitely controls Lane Kiffin, Jimmy Sexton, for those of you that don't know.
Now, Kelly wasn't a Sexton guy.
No, but Governor Landry. By the way, and we need to when we come back to this topic, and obviously we're veering all over the place to start the show, but it's a Thursday. To me, it's the weekend. We're having a good time. And as Tyler's learning, I like to do a chaotic show that's slightly unprofessional and all over the map, and he's trying to play ninja defense against me constantly to keep us straight and in line.
We're in zone right now.
But Scott Woodward,
Yep.
is getting a bad rap here. Because
Absolutely.
he's being not from Governor Landry, because he's being nailed with the contracts and the extensions for both Brian Kelly and for Jimbo Fisher when it was the new AD at Texas A&M that gave Fisher the extension or whatever that covered that buyout.
But Ross
Bjork,
he was still there, the one that hired him. He was not the one that extended, but he's the one that hired him.
He made both of the hiring.
Yes, he did.
Correct.
Yes.
And honestly, you would say
not bad
Jimbo
choices.
Fisher and Brian Kelly are two really doggone good hires.
Jimbo Fisher was, 3 years removed from winning a national championship. Brian Kelly had done everything but win a national championship at Notre Dame. And nobody, when Jimbo got hired at A&M, when Brian Kelly got taken from Notre Dame to go to LSU, everybody said, "Oh, that's a good hire." That is how those programs are going to get themselves in A&M's situation to a national championship level, and in LSU's situation back to a national championship level.
Right. I mean, they were good hires. Now you talk the money and everything, that's totally different. But I don't know if this is a mess. It's funny.
Sure.
Like, it's entertaining to see a governor come out, and this is what happens when you've got one main school in the state, and then you got like Louisiana Tech and Louisiana Monroe and Tulane and so forth and so on. I think Nicholls State is down there too.
Nicholls State, Northwestern State.
Okay.
But yeah, they're the only Power 4 program in the state.
And you got the governor stepping in, but unless I misread it, and you tell me if I'm wrong on this. Now, I think he said the board of directors is going to make the hire
because they don't have president.
Right.
Yeah.
So the board of directors. So it's not the governor's not going to make the hire.
No.
So I don't know how that translates to the AD can't make the hire.
Well, the governor had a heavy hand in the firing in the first place over the weekend. So
because they're funding the state's going to fund
he selected multiple members of that board of governors. So I'm assuming he's saying they're going to be in line with what I think and what I say on this because he appointed most of them. That's the way that I understand it.
Just to make things more fun, Ed Orgeron threw his name back in the hat.
Of course he did. Listen, Brian Kelly didn't embrace Louisiana. Tell you who will, Eddie O, man.
And have you seen, there's a little bit of a ground support for Coach O to come back.
Yeah.
People forget why he was really let go.
See.
Like, there's two reasons he was let go. And it depends on who you talk to down there, which one is the main one. One is a little more nefarious than the other one.
Yes. There's a story of him hitting on the wife of a very high-up person within the university at a gas station that may have led to his demise as well. And when she said, "I'm married," he said, "Doesn't matter."
Yeah.
Or something to that effect.
And apparently girlfriends and their kids running around practice.
Yeah. Listen, he won the national title. He kicked his feet up, and he just started having a good time. And then they paid him $30+ million to go away, and he's been enjoying his retirement.
He's having a blast. I don't know. We'll see what happens with LSU. We'll continue to talk about this. I'll get to more of your text messages. I will get to the phone lines. We're having a good time. I hope we're having a good time. I'm having a good time. I'm having a blast. It's 12:29 on your Wednesday afternoon. On your Thursday, it is the halftime show. Thursday afternoon, and it is 12:34. Tyler Head, Bill Gunner, Captain Dave Adair, as we discuss anything ranging right now from the horror movie Stephen King's It to 80s. Turns out It was released November 18th, 1990. So not a 80s movie, but
it was filmed in the 80s.
Filmed in the 80s, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
So I'll give you credit for that one.
Okay, well, so we've discussed it. I think it's wildly overrated. If you want to weigh in on that, 803-404-6100. We debated 80s movies. Tyler's a huge fan.
Big fan.
Says it's...
By the way, Jen's on my side with Fast Times at Ridgemont High. She texted me about that.
Jen is very much on your side with 80s movies. Again, she had quite the campaign to get me to watch 80s movies. Unsuccessfully, I should say. And then also, we're right now at least discussing the LSU situation. We're going to get into a lot of stuff with South Carolina, some stuff that the coordinator said yesterday. I want to revisit something Shane Beamer said on Tuesday about not closing out games. And we have the little brouhaha taking place between Mike Locksley now and South Carolina with, did South Carolina pay Zion Lee $5 to $10 grand to take a visit? And my question is, does Shane Beamer need to respond to that? Do you do you say, hey, no, we're a damn good program. There's a reason you come to our program and take an official visit. Did you see our atmosphere? Do you see how close we are to being a winner? If you commit to our program, there's a reason you come. We don't have to pay you $5 to $10 grand to take a visit to the university, the poor little South Carolina.
Let me ask you this. I know in the Beamer era, they've gone up there, pulled a lot of talent out of the DMV. Did that beef exist before Beamer got here?
No.
It's just in the recent 5 years?
I think the timeline on that is it started when Beamer took Taylor Edwards.
Okay.
And I don't know the details of why that stuck with in the crawl of Locksley so much.
Because, like, you go through their Twitters and, like, message board, they hate South Carolina. Like, there is a burning passion of hatred, and it's, again, they don't play each other. It's all recruiting based.
Yes, and it really, we should have much more hate for Maryland because when neither of us were alive, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong on this, was it the 70s was it Ribach? Right? Is it Ribach or Rybach, John Rybach, that punched Lefty Driesell in the Carolina-Maryland ACC game?
Oh, okay.
You don't know this story?
I do not.
803-404-6100. Give me someone who knows that remembers the story, that can tell both Tyler and that, because there's a reason for Maryland and South Carolina to not like each other.
But the fans have been the Flames have been fanned with the recruiting things in the past 5 years.
Yes. And this little story, I don't know. So we're going to get into that as well. So we got a lot. But let's get out to the phone lines. Ray has waited patiently to weigh in on LSU. Ray, how you doing? What's on your mind?
Doing good, guys. A great show. I mean, sometimes we got to, put our garnet glasses all off and talk about what's going on, in the real world, But my goodness, I don't know. I think it was maybe the segment prior to the last one. I heard, I know Tyler knows this guy, David Pollock came on about his show, See the Ball, Get the Ball. Bill, were you in the stadium when he took the ball out of our quarterback's hand for that touchdown?
I was sitting in the zone right above it.
Oh, what a heartbreaker that game was. Oh, my goodness. And, oh, what a heartbreaker. But anyway, I heard David Pollock had just, talking about it and nightmares. It all kind of came back to me right there. But, man, I'm kind of like Captain Dave when it came to Phoebe Cates. I mean, unbelievable. But that movie, Fast Time at Ridgemont High, the character that Sean Penn played, the surfer dude, Jeff Spicoli, I mean, he nailed. I thought that was one of his best acting jobs ever. Forget about all the Oscars he won or whatever he won. But great movie. I don't think a movie personifies the 1980s more than Fast Times at Ridgemont High. You haven't seen it, you got to see it. It's a hoot. But anyway, getting back to this governor in Louisiana, I understand how he feels, but I wouldn't handle it that way. I mean, and you give Jimmy Sexton credit for getting these coaches these unbelievable salaries, but maybe somebody needs to put it into it if they can. I don't know if they can, but maybe somebody needs to say, hey, look, Coach, we'll give you we'll agree with your agent, whoever it is, even it is Jimmy. We'll agree that, we'll give you a buyout, but your buyout's only going to be a year's salary. I mean, something's got to be done because, the way you look at it, these schools, these state-run schools, they are, entities of that state. And, yeah, the football programs make gazillions of dollars, but that money goes to a lot of places other than just football. So these schools that make these deals, and it's on them. It's not, you can't necessarily blame the AD because he could have made that decision by himself, But, maybe they need to try to correct that going forward. That might be a, topic for another show. But I kind of understand the governor. But, I certainly want to handle it that way. But I guess one's got to understand the dichotomy of the politics in the state of Louisiana. I mean, and how seriously they take their football. But that's what I got to say. Thanks a lot, guys.
Appreciate the phone call, Ray. And, 80s movies.
Yeah, there's another vote for Fast Times at Ridgemont High in my corner.
Oh, listen, I there's no doubt I've played this game before. I'm going to lose. I'm going to lose severely.
I will also agree. Jeff Spicoli is Sean Penn's best acting job.
Okay.
So that's when I look at him now, I still see him as Spicoli.
Yeah, I mean, I am well aware I'm losing this one. This is not one I'm winning, and there's people going to call me multiple names from my 80s movies takes, and I can kind of live with that. 803-404-6100. Andy weighs in. Any Michael J. Fox movie, Back to the Future and Teen Wolf. Yeah, Back to the Future is like a 6 on my 1 to 10 list. That's not the worst of it. Another texter weighs in and says, if you don't like the Goonies, then I don't trust your movie taste, your taste in movies. I'm not gonna lie, you definitely don't take my taste in movies. That's like, let's be very clear about that. I'm actually excited tonight. Peacock, we'll get to the college games and everything. On Peacock tonight, they start streaming the new Jurassic Park.
Okay.
That came out that I wanted to go see in theaters, and I didn't get a chance to go see it. So on Peacock tonight,
sure.
On the Peacock streaming network, they start streaming the newest Jurassic Park. I can't promise you I'm going to give you much information on the football games tomorrow.
That's okay. I'll do that part of the work.
By the way, I also need to discuss with you off air to see what your thoughts are on Chad Powers, because I don't want to give away. I watched the last episode, there's 6 episodes. I have some serious issues.
Okay.
Let's go back to the phone lines. Brent down in Mount Pleasant wants to weigh in. Brent, thank you for holding, man. How you doing? And thanks for the call.
Bill, I was doing okay until I heard your takes on the 80s movies. I don't want you to ruin Tyler's mind. I'll just put out a couple names here. 16 Candles.
No.
Cool Hair, The Donger, Rich Kids Driving Porsches, Long Duck Dong, a.k.a. The Donger. When you're sitting at home, or when we're all sitting at home during Thanksgiving and Christmas, we have one Hollywood director to thank. His name was John Hughes. He did 16 Candles, Weird Science, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Vacation 1, Vacation 2, Christmas Vacation. When you're out trick-or-treating on Friday and someone passes you dressed like Cousin Eddie, you'll think about me.
Did you say John Hughes?
Yes.
All right, I like him. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Yes, sir. Good job.
He did Home Alone 2, I think. Did he do the Home Alone movies?
Home Alone 1, Home Alone 2, probably Home Alone 8.
Yeah, we don't talk about anything past 2.
Yeah.
That's fine. I just wanted to prod you with that, man. Glad you're doing okay. Appreciate the show, guys.
Thank you, man.
The topics.
Don't be a stranger. Good. Appreciate hearing from you down there in Mount Pleasant. 803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in if you want to do so. Jason goes with the.
You've opened yourself up to this, by the way.
No, I expect it, but I really, again, we're going down a path that I wanted to go down more of the path of It, the movie It, which turns out to be released in 1990. But because I tried to watch it, it's like I've really tried to make an effort for Halloween movies this month.
Sure.
Like, I really tried to kind of really enjoy the season, and the candy corn and the everything that comes along with it. I've overdone it on the candy corn, I'll admit. I've gone too far. But I've tried to get into the Halloween movies, and I tried to rewatch It. It's like bad. You try and give it another chance, and it's just not good. It's no good at all. I couldn't make it through it last night. I ended up on King of Queens or something else. I don't know. I know I was watching the NBA game. Also, when you start watching NBA in October, you've gone down a path a little bit. But that was where I wanted to start, but it's taken us down a path. And I know I'm going to lose on the 80s movies. I'm well aware.
Right. Make sure you know.
So I'm taking the L before. I'll do it again today. We got a lot to get to. We're having fun. If you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100. It is the Halftime Show.
In my opinion, I mean, those guys, they get paid to go take those trips now. Like, this is part of
right?
this whole, yeah. And so, why would I be mad for Zion to make a $5 to $10 grand to go down to South Carolina and
just to look-see?
He's been one of those guys that has been really loyal to this area. He's been loyal to me.
Those are the words of Maryland head football coach Mike Locksley. Why would he be upset with Zion Lee for, and again, you heard, he said it right there. All right, this isn't, I know we all know how things are now on the internet. Whether you like it or not, you can't believe everything you read on the internet, okay, out there. You can't say his name. I'm pretty sure you can't say his name. I don't know if you can. I don't know the exact rule, exact rule, but I'm fairly certain that's number one. That's a violation. And Mike Locksley is, by the way, Mike Locksley is one of the best recruiters in the country because he's underhanded and dirty and knows how to get away with stuff. And my gut on this is he knows, as Tyler said earlier, that while he may get punished for that, it's a mild slap on the hand, and they will not ban him from recruiting Zion Lee, nor disallow Zion from attending the University of Maryland. But with that being said, here's my question. He's like calling out. I think. Are you with me on this? Are we being dramatic? Are we making too much of this? Is he calling out South Carolina? I feel like he's calling out South Carolina. I feel personally offended.
Yeah. I mean, he's taking a shot by basically saying, well, hey, if they didn't pay Zion Lee the amount that he's accusing them of paying, he would not have come to the Alabama game last week. There's a lot, and last weekend was full of a ton of high-profile recruits, and I guess the insinuation after that is, well, they must have paid all those guys to come down there, or else otherwise they wouldn't have cared to come, I think is kind of the further point that Mike Locksley is trying to make there.
Yeah, or that any time. I don't know. I think it's one thing if this was I'm trying to think of a coach with no history to South Carolina very quickly that's, I don't know if this was Bill Belichick or something who Dave Doran. I don't think we have any animosity towards Dave Doran with North Carolina State. Tony Elliott at Virginia obviously was at Clemson. I could see where people would say that. Rich Rod at West Virginia in his time at Clemson. Anyway, the point being is like there's animosity, and I think more, by the way, than we realize between Shane Beamer and Mike Locksley. Now, to Shane Beamer's credit, I'll say this, at least publicly, Shane lets it slide off his back.
Sure.
And Shane's, we all know, Coach is an emotional guy.
Yeah.
And he will defend his program and his players and his coaches. The one thing that I love about Shane Beamer is that you can say what you want, and you might be right, but he's going to defend his players. Now, what he says to him and what he does in private is entirely different.
Yeah.
But in public, he defends this program and his players better than any coach that's ever been at this university.
He does, and again, he has an opportunity tonight to address this if he wants to. I don't know if he will or not, but I have no doubts that when this clip was presented to him, that he had a probably pretty visceral reaction to it. He probably blew his top. You know what I mean? And rightfully so. Again, that's a coach that's calling you out to some degree.
But let's say it's true.
Let's say it is true.
Let's just hypothetically say it's true.
Okay.
Then what?
You have to be calculated in how you respond to it then.
Because I'm not going to say it's not. I will say this, and this isn't a knock on Shane Beamer in South Carolina, because what I know for a fact, because, again, you talk to coaches and you hear about these things, Tyler, that what Mike Locksley said does indeed happen.
Sure.
Now, you don't it's Fight Club, right? You don't talk about Fight Club.
Yeah, you don't talk about. Was that also in the 80s?
No.
Or was that too late? That was 90s. Okay. That
was in the 90s. But anyway, and everything we do today is going to be related to 80s and 90s movies. But you don't publicly say this. Coaches don't do this. I mean, remember Lane Kiffin actually was one of the first ones to do this. Remember Keith Richardson? I don't know if you remember this. way back when South Carolina and Florida and Tennessee were all battling for Nuquise Richardson, and Lane Kiffin called out, I think, Urban Meyer at the time down at Florida on Nuquise Richardson. And I'll revisit that story because we're running out of time. We're definitely running out of time. But, Mike, you don't do this.
Sure.
And if South Carolina did pay him, okay, you paid him. You're not the only. I guarantee you this. You're not the only one.
Yeah. We'll see how he responds if he does.
It all goes back to Braden Lee, if you remember that 2 years ago.
No, it's way before that. Braden Lee's had a family issue. It actually starts with Jay Sean Barmore. I'll tell you more. Hour two. We are patiently awaiting a fire alarm / drill here at the building.
According to our sources.
Good point.
Yeah, we cannot confirm or deny, but our sources tell us that it could be happening.
Anonymous sources tell us, and if and when this occurs this hour, and you wonder what's going on, Tyler, Dave, and I will exit the building. We are required to exit the building, and we will replay the Yancey Porter interview from yesterday. That really was actually, I thought very informative on a couple different levels, especially, and we discussed at the NIL level yesterday as it pertained to essentially Mississippi coming up with about $30 million.
According to his sources.
And by the way, it also, if I understood the interview correctly, it was through 3, maybe 4 people max. It wasn't
a lot.
It did, yeah.
It was a couple of high-level donors that, again, kind of see the buzz around Lane Kiffin and said, hey, let's push all our chips in, show him that we are invested and want to make sure that he stays around, and give him a pretty sweet pot to have to bargain with.
And let's be honest, I'm kind of, Tyler yesterday said he doesn't see Lane Kiffin leaving. And I'm kind of with Tyler now. I mean, let's be honest, he can go 9-3 for the rest of his life and have failures at Mississippi, and they're gonna pay him well, and they're not gonna fire him. But if you go 9-3 for 4 straight years, or 9-3 and have a 10-2 season, but yet I would say don't reach the championship game, at least the Final Four, they're gonna be ready to fire. They're gonna call you a bust and be ready to fire you.
Let's put this in perspective a little bit. Right now, that team is 7-1. They're the number 7 team in the country. They are favored in their last 4 games of the regular season, which as long as they win basically 3 of those 4, they'll be in, no questions asked. But let's say, and let's just assume these other jobs aren't opening, so he's not looking elsewhere. Let's say somehow they lose 2 out of the next 4 games. They drop to 9-3 and don't make the college ball playoff. Even if that happened, Lane Kiffin's not going to get fired in the offseason at Ole Miss. They'd be like, man, that sucks. Like last year. Again,
that was my point, is last year.
Exactly. They had a team that was capable of making the playoff. They lost games they shouldn't have lost. Teams like Kentucky and teams like Florida, and they missed the playoffs because of that. And again, nobody's ready to run them out of town. It's like, dang it. We wanted to be there. We didn't get there. Okay, we'll try better next year. Again, in the situation this year, and even if that happened again, then he's still not getting fired.
They do literally, like Mississippi does seem like a school that literally moves on to, and not because they're great at it, but it's just like, all right, basketball's next. What we got? Chris Beard? Okay.
There are other sports that keep them occupied.
Yeah, like they literally just roll from, you kind of think about it, actually. Of course, did they fire Bianco? Did they finally part ways with him on baseball? I got to look that up. I forget if they did or didn't.
I think you're right. Let me double check.
But anyway, they kind of just roll. But that's the truth of the matter with Kiffin at Mississippi is last year was really for them a massive disappointment.
No, Bianco's still there.
Is he? Okay.
Yep.
Kept him again. Gotta admit,
they made a regional last year.
Listen.
First time
we all blocked out baseball season in about April.
I actually enjoyed the postseason this past year. The postseason of baseball.
You talking about Major League?
No. Like the college, college postseason. I did enjoy the college postseason, even though Carolina was not anywhere near it.
Okay, all right.
It was fun.
So
you had controversy in the championship series.
No, that's true. Coastal made the run. Yeah, okay.
Coastal made the run.
Coastal, yeah, okay. I'm with you. Good point. But no, other than that, we blocked out all of that, especially SEC play. I don't know what happened.
Now, I can't.
It's just one big black hole.
I have got the Men in Black memory thing on a lot of what Carolina did last year.
That's what I'm saying, yeah, and that involves the rest of this.
Yeah, like, hey, what happened in the Oklahoma series? I couldn't tell you.
Well,
I watched it. I know I did.
That's the very last thing I remember.
Yeah. I watched it. I talked about it, but I couldn't recall off the top of my head how that series went.
But
it was bad.
Yeah, but and by the way, there's some baseball news. I need some talk on the baseball news. I'll get back to for the coming up weekend. But getting back to Lane Kiffin, and again, what's funny in all of this, his agent is Jimmy Sexton, who Governor Jeff Landry down in Louisiana, who is now, I don't know, leading the search, heading up the search.
The head of the search committee.
Whatever, somehow offended him. Well, didn't somehow offend him, but took him to task, took Jimmy Sexton to task for what he has done in terms of getting leverage and money for his clients. Good job. That's a good agent. I don't know if Jeff Landry understands that. But I don't see Kiffin going to LSU now. And Florida, I don't foresee. I think I'm with you. I think he stays in Mississippi. I think it's the good life. I think it's the truly good life for him. And for those that don't know, you mentioned it, the E60 show that I think you can go back and watch on the ESPN app, or you can probably find it streaming somewhere. There's a great article on it. His family's there. He has gone sober. Or Lane has gone sober. He has got, again, his family there. He's reconnected with his 3 kids. His daughter, the one that is dating Whit Weeks, who he's
had some issues since they started dating.
Yeah.
I think Lane was playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers on that one.
Whit Weeks learned a lesson. Don't go to the girlfriend's dad's for dinner. You get food poisoning. Slip some what was it? What did Owen Wilson do to Bradley Cooper and
is it iodine?
Eye drops or something.
Eye drops.
Yeah. Look at we're all in the movies today. Those are my kind of movies. Wedding Crashers, The Hangover.
I love those too.
Those are 2000s.
Yes, 2000 comedies are great.
Kind of my kind of stuff. Vince Vaughn, Will Ferrell.
That's a frat pack.
Yeah. It's my kind of stuff. Old school. Yeah, there you go. All that stuff. But all right. So then that raises the question: Lane Kiffin, and I'm sure that regardless, you just mentioned he could. You said he's. What are the 4 games? I know they got us, the Citadel, Mississippi State,
Citadel, Mississippi State, and Florida.
Funny they got Florida. And they won't revenge because they lost to Florida last year in the swamp. That kind of was what ended their playoff hope. But
look, the Egg Bowl's always weird. That's a better Mississippi State team. So they
can save their season with that.
They could, yeah. So that's not outside their own possibility.
But to your point, if something happens to Lane Kiffin in those games in Mississippi and they lose and they blow it, you know what'll probably happen? He'll get an extension.
Yeah,
and a raise.
Yes. Yeah, because they know this is where they have to hold on the tightest to him, because never before in his time there have so many lucrative jobs been available to him. And again, he's been linked to the Florida job even when Mullen was fired a couple years ago and they hired Billy Napier. Like, oh man, they're going to go get Lane Kiffin. I'm sure when Ed Orgeron got fired at LSU, he's probably
Bama was slightly in discussion.
When Saban retired, like all these high-profile jobs, Lane Kiffin in the past, basically since he's gotten back to coaching at the Power 4 level, which is at Ole Miss, because he was at, really even when he was the OC at Alabama, got jobs coming up. Said, oh, go hire Lane Kiffin. Went to FAU for a couple of years, won there. But since he's been back at LSU, it's been like every job that comes up, oh, it's Lane Kiffin. Of course, Lane Kiffin's going to want to go there. And obviously he hasn't yet, and I don't think that he will.
All right, so we know that about Lane. That's our opinion of Lane Kiffin. And again, the reason I bring all that up is we are told by anonymous sources we may have a fire drill here in the building, and that we will need to leave the building during the hour. And if that does occur, and you start listening, and you notice we're running an interview from yesterday with Yancey Porter, we're standing outside waiting to have the building cleared. It is a fire drill, not an actual fire. So good news we will assume. But so just FYI on that, but we'll run that. And again, that was I thought, a very informative interview. Another thing to come out of that interview, by the way, and I don't know what you make about this for the game this weekend. I said, well, what scares Mississippi fans, Tyler, about this game? Like, what would scare Mississippi fans into thinking that they blow this game? They're almost a 2-touchdown favorite, 12.5-point favorite. I get his answer, and his answer pertained to it was basically, hey, Lenore Sellers is like a dynamic quarterback and could break out at any time, and then they have another player on defense in Dylan Stewart who can take over a game. Mm-hmm. And yes, he can, but we haven't seen him this year.
Right.
And while he's had a good year, he probably hasn't lived up to the expectations he set for himself. I think he's been a little overly criticized this year, given that he's been the focal point of a lot of offenses. But it wasn't a warm and fuzzy that was like, oh, you think one player on each side of the ball. Like, normally I don't see football as a one-man sport where one guy can just take over, and absolutely it can happen. And we've seen in the past. It's not, but you get my point. Like, you need your wide receivers, running backs. You need I don't know if people are aware. You need your offensive line to block.
Sure.
Other things have to happen.
They do, and we unfortunately haven't really seen it all come together for a single game so far this year. But I can understand the concern level, because I think when you look at the remaining teams they have, obviously Citadel, not worried about that. Florida is.
And by the way, Citadel's next week, so they're not looking ahead to that. I assume they're not looking ahead to that.
They don't have a look ahead there. Obviously, your rivalry game with Mississippi State is always going to be a big deal. Blake Shapen, very capable quarterback. Levy's got a good offense there. But I think they probably look at the South Carolina game as the game that they are most likely to maybe trip up on, especially considering, like, if Alabama had come in here and beaten Carolina 49-7, I don't think there'd be as high a level of concern. But given the fact that Carolina took Alabama all the way to the limit in that game and shot themselves in the foot at their very end, quite frankly, I think there's a sense of, okay, that team might be finally figuring things out the week before they head into play us.
You make a good point about, did South Carolina maybe catch their attention a little bit more by basically having Bama on the ropes, and essentially having pulled off the upset, only to, as the quartet, if you haven't seen SEC Shorts say, I forget how they phrased it, but nearly stormed the field a little bit too soon down there in the end zone.
I'm glad they picked up on that too. It wasn't just us.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That was actually a pretty good SEC Shorts. When we come back, we'll continue to some discussion about coaches. And I got a question for Tyler. Does an extension mean a coach is off the market? Because if so, one just occurred in the last about 30 minutes. And therefore, one big name job who Tyler was certain a coach was going to go there, that might be that might no longer be an option. We'll tell you about that. We'll tell you who just signed a big extension through 2032 and what name job may now be having to move on to candidate number 2. Does even extension mean anything? We'll talk about that. You're listening to the Halftime Show. It is 1:18 on a Thursday. We are about 6 hours away from Marshall and Coastal Carolina tonight up at Brooks Stadium in Conway. Remember, free concessions. Free concessions. That's what old Chance Miller's offered down there. Free go down. You leave right now, you can get to Conway, catch a little football tonight. Marshall and Coastal Carolina, and you can get all the hot dogs you want. How many hot dogs could you eat on free concession day?
Ooh,
how many would you go for?
I could probably do, over the course of a game, 3.5 hours, I could probably do about 5.
Okay.
I could do 5. I pace myself. Because, like, here's the thing. You get a hot dog. I had one at the Fireflies game a couple of months ago, and, like, it takes, like, 2 seconds to eat.
Yeah.
Hot dogs aren't, like, this thing that you have to eat over a long period of time. I can eat one hot dog. When I make them at home for myself, I usually make like 4 or 5 because you just eat them so quickly, so easily.
Okay.
And I don't pile a bunch of stuff on top of them.
Jeez,
I'm pretty
4 or
simple
5.
with it. But yeah, I could probably knock down, I'd say about 5 over the course of a game.
Okay. All right. So I'm not allowed to drink right now. That's kind of out the window as we deal with the kidney stuff. But maybe next year, hopefully I'm healthy.
Yeah.
That would be really nice.
Sure.
I will say that I would, even though I don't drink, even though when I do drink or did drink, past tense, beer is not what I drink. I don't drink, and it doesn't matter whether it's like Bud Light, Miller Lite, or IPAs. I'm not a beer drinker. I stopped that a long time ago. But I say that because you saw kind of the trend, and I think I brought it up to you on one of the shows. The 9 dogs and 9 beers in 9 innings trend that all of a sudden like took over basically minor league parks.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm very familiar. I'm very familiar.
You think you could pull that off?
Man, that's going to be tough.
The 9 beers would be, good God.
Yeah, and that's because, again, beer is very filling.
Exactly.
Like, it's different if you were eating hot dogs and
Joey
drinking
Chestnut
water.
couldn't get to 70-something before throwing a beer or 3 in.
The beer with the barley and the wheat and all that kind of stuff. It's just like drinking bread, kind of.
Right.
So, yes, you get more full drinking beer than a lot of other liquids. So it's like you're almost doubling up your bread intake when it comes to the hot dogs and stuff. I would make an attempt. I feel like the pace, if we get a game with a lot of runs being scored, you're good. I feel like I could pace myself well enough to do 1 and 1 per inning. I feel confident getting halfway through the game.
Okay.
The back half, we get into the 6th, 7th, 8th inning, 9th inning. That's where my concern comes in, but I could come out of the gate strong, I feel like.
Okay. All right. Maybe also needs to be a deal.
I'm going to attempt this at least once. I will attempt a 9-9-9 challenge at least once.
The other thing is you got to make sure, I'm guessing this needs, and the reason I say it's a minor league ballpark thing is because you got to go on like a thirsty Thursday. Otherwise, you go to like a Braves game and you start purchasing beers. You've all of a sudden gone down a path that is going to be quite expensive. I'll say that it is going to be.
I think because who had the kit for it a couple of weeks ago that we talked about? What stadium was selling the kit?
It was was it the Dodgers? Might have been the Dodgers.
Maybe it was one of the teams that was in the postseason was selling that because it was in a little box and you had little slots for the cups. Which my thing was good in theory. But a lot of those beers are going to be warm by the time you get to them, and that's going to be harder to drink.
Yeah, it's got to be you go to the concession stand and get 3 at a time.
Yes, that'd be a lot smarter.
Do you go for a? We'll get to this coach football talk. I apologize. We're about too much Halloween candy for me. Do you go for a big run early of like getting out ahead, like 7 dogs in the first 3 innings? And maybe 5 beers, and then you pace yourself for 3 innings, and then you try and finish the final 3 with 2 more dogs.
I think that's a smart strategy. Come out of the gate strong, because again, I think you could probably knock out at least 3 in like the first inning, maybe 2 to 3 beers in that point in time, and then you can like rest for a moment, let everything settle, and again, when you're hunger builds up a little bit more. Maybe it's not till the 3rd inning. So, okay, gonna knock out a couple more, and you're getting ahead of the curve because I think the pacing of 1 and 1 per inning is dangerous.
Okay.
Because again, you feel good through the first couple, Then you get to 6 and 7, it's like, okay, you got flavor fatigue and all that kind of stuff. Maybe mix up your sauces. Put ketchup on one, mustard on the other, barbecue sauce on one, mayonnaise on the other. I don't know. You got to kind of mix it up.
Okay. All right. Tyler's got a full strategy. We'll circle back to some minor league baseball. Hopefully by then I'll have gotten some issues worked out and maybe gotten this transplant by then and go from there. 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in. So before I give you the name of the coach who now may be off the market, because my first question is going to be, Tyler, does a contract extension officially, in your opinion, take a coach off the market? If a coach gets a contract extension, do you now say, oh, no, never mind, he's unobtainable?
In a lot of instances, yes.
Okay.
But it's not 100%.
All right. I think it was yesterday, might have been Tuesday, we played a little game of match the coach with the school.
Yep.
Who we thought was the best fit. Now, I said for Penn State, I said Clark Lee. You went Matt Rule, but also the general consensus has been that Matt Rule would probably go essentially back home and take over Penn State. He played at Penn State.
He played at Penn State. He was a walk-on linebacker, I want to say.
He was a linebacker. And so anyway, he the general feeling was he was going to go back home. Within the last hour, he has signed an extension with Nebraska. It's a 2-year extension, mind you, and it now takes his contract through 2032. The buyout for this year, this is another part of this story to me. I don't know if this buyout is high. I don't know what number is ridiculous anymore. Now, it's his buyout if Penn State wanted to pay it.
Sure.
But it's $15 million now. I don't know if that's high, but he has signed a 2-year extension through 2032. It will raise his contract slightly. It doesn't go absolutely crazy. It's going to jump up to around a little over $8 million at this point. But I don't know if this officially locks him in and we take him off of the job market.
I'm going to give you 2 dates real quick, okay?
Okay.
First date is going to be January 7th, 2020. You know what happened on that day?
January 7th, 2020.
2020, yes. Do you know what happened that day?
No.
The day Matt Rule agreed to become the Panthers head coach. Let's back up to September 29th, 2019. Do you know what happened on that day?
I'm going to guess he signed an extension with Baylor.
He signed an extension through 2027 with Baylor.
Okay.
And was gone 3 months later as the head coach of the Panthers.
Now, there is a difference, right, in a jump from Baylor to the NFL.
Something significant.
There is a difference. But to your point on that, yeah, I don't know. And that's why I ask you if we take him, off the market now for Penn State, or if this is just because, again, $15 million for a buyout. We're in a world that we don't understand right now financially with college football. And the bubble's going to pop. I don't know how, when, where, whom. The bubble's going to pop on some of this money. It's not going to be ridiculous, right? We're not going to go back to coaches making $1.5 million a year.
No.
But $15 million for a buyout, to me personally, given what we've seen, doesn't seem like a lot. Now, James Franklin got, I believe, $49 million to walk away.
He did.
And it looks like, and this is the other part, it looks like James Franklin is in negotiation by all accounts with Virginia Tech.
That's from the reporting, yes.
This is what it appears to be. I'm a little shocked by that, to be honest. I thought he would wait this baby out a little bit more, but maybe, I don't know. Maybe he looks at Virginia Tech like we're talking about Lane Kiffin at Mississippi in a very low-pressure job where he can win 7 or 8 games and everybody be very happy, 9 games occasionally in the ACC. But the point being is that I don't know if this takes Matt Rule off of the job market. You just gave that stat there that, September
of 2019,
he signs an extension.
Which that extension would still have him at Baylor right now if he went through with it. And then 3 months later, he's the head coach of the Panthers.
So we'll put our kind of crystal ball predictions in here. Do you still have him staying at Nebraska, or do you have him going to Penn State?
I'm still going to lean towards Penn State. I think they will throw enough money at him, and they can work that. But does that buyout become immediate? By the way, the $15 million, like from today, that's his buyout?
Yes. It says Rule is signed with the Huskers through 2032, including a $15 million buyout this year.
Okay.
But it does say, and this goes back to what we've talked about with Lane Kiffin and NIL. It said sources have said Rule has been adamant about funding the roster at a high level. By the way, big game this weekend against Southern Cal.
Yep.
They're 6-2.
And they got bludgeoned last time they played against Minnesota.
Yeah, they're kind of.
That probably ended their playoff hopes.
Oh, I didn't know they had playoff hopes.
Well, if they had playoff hopes, that probably ended it.
Got it. I think anybody outside.
I will still lean towards yes. I still think he's going to become the head coach of Penn State, and they can make that buyout happen.
803-404-6100. We'll get into a few other coaches and a few other jobs when we come back. Look around, give you a breakdown of the big picture of college football coming up for the weekend. I'll get back to some of these text messages and the poll question that I've got out on the movie Stephen King's It. We got a lot on the table today. If you want to be a part of it and weigh in, and I see several of you, I will get to those. 803-404-6100. It is the Halftime Show. It'd be a really good week. And coming up in hour number 3, we're going to talk a lot more South Carolina, Mississippi, get into the offense, let you hear Mike Shula talk about simplifying the offense. So we'll do a lot of Gamecocks, Mississippi in hour number 3. But it would be a good weekend for a special teams touchdown.
Oh, yeah.
Might want to get one of those babies.
Yeah, those Vicari Swain punt returns feel like a lifetime ago now.
And guess what? We have the Lawyer Lisa Special Teams Contest. If special team scores a touchdown, you could win $100, and you could win $700. The pot is $700 because, as Tyler just said, been a while. Hadn't happened in a while. And it would be a good weekend. Probably could get one of those, and it would help a little bit. So go to 1075thegame.com and register today for the Lawyer Lisa Special Teams Contest. Again, that pot up to $700. Gamecocks score a special teams touchdown. We'll draw a winner. That winner will win $700. It'll be the month of November. You can either buy a turkey for the family, or you can start thinking about Christmas shopping. So, go get registered today. 1075 the game. All right, tonight, Coastal and Marshall. Marshall 6.5-point favorite in that game. 7:30. That game will be on ESPN2, by the way. Let's go Shants. Come on down there, Tim Beck. Let's get the job done. Over-under set at 55.5. Tulane and Texas San Antonio on ESPN at 7:30. Tulane, a 5.5-point favorite.
Okay.
Tulane, not ranked. Tomorrow night, Friday night, your lineup is Memphis. And you talk about Memphis, and you want to keep it on. Maybe you want to flip over for a second. You want to watch Memphis. Why would you watch Memphis? Well, they're number 25 in the country. They could be a playoff team.
Yep.
And that might matter. They are at Rice, but Ryan Silverfield, their coach, 49-22 in his career there, took over from Mike Norvell, is becoming a hot commodity. And with so many job openings that are arising, you feel like he's going to end up probably somewhere at one of these jobs.
Yeah. By the way, the race in the American is really interesting.
It's crazy.
Because, again, Memphis is the only team that's still ranked. They have one loss. They lost to BYB, of all teams, a couple weeks ago. South Florida, still with one loss. North Texas, one loss. Temple, one loss. East Carolina, one loss. Right now, if we had the AC championship game today, it would be Navy and Tulane.
Lovely.
Because both those teams, Navy's actually undefeated overall.
Oh.
We're not talking about Navy. The midshipmen have maybe a chance to go to the college ball playoff themselves if they keep on winning.
Count me in.
By the way, I'm here for it.
Mm-hmm.
They had a good season last year.
Is this the year where they do the college football playoff and then Navy and Army play?
No. It's always going to be Navy Army before the playoff. Because the playoff starts the weekend before Christmas. Army Navy is the 13th. So the next weekend is when the playoff starts.
No. I meant when they named a playoff. Does Army Navy have zero impact on the playoff?
Yeah, it has zero impact because the playoff gets named the Sunday after conference championships.
Obviously, it has zero impact. By the way, Navy plays North Texas this week.
They do. It's going to be a fun matchup. I believe I picked the midshipmen to win that game.
Oh, wow.
Should be a good one tomorrow noon or Saturday noon on ESPN2. But, yeah, and here's the interesting thing. They still got to go to Notre Dame. They play Memphis on the road in the last week of the regular season. Theoretically, could play the conference championship. And if they win, because, again, it goes to the highest non-Power 4 champion, and I don't think anybody's coming out of the Mountain West, so probably the AC champion is in. And if Navy wins that, they would be named to the playoff before the Army-Navy game next weekend.
Yeah, okay.
Which, I would love that. Give me that all day long.
I'm for you.
I'd love that story.
Anyway, Memphis and Rice, that's tomorrow night, Halloween night, while you're out trick-or-treating. If you want to watch Memphis, because, again, Ryan Silverfield is a name that will be mentioned very prominently in these coaching openings. Also tomorrow night, North Carolina and Syracuse. North Carolina, a job. Do we think? I think it opens.
Oh, 1,000% opens.
Yeah. Okay. Not 100%, 1,000. Okay.
Now, the debate was Belichick going to survive to the Cal game? He did. They nearly knocked out Virginia last week in overtime.
They did.
They actually looked better in that game. But
that's what makes me wonder.
There's been so much turmoil with this.
Too much?
And his buyout is like nothing, by the way.
I don't think I think he walks away on his own.
Yeah, like one side or the other is going to end this. I with a lot of confidence, do not feel like Bill Belichick's coaching at UNC in 2026.
Okay. All right. Let's go to Saturday here and your noon games. This one should have been phenomenal. It will not be now. Penn State at Ohio State. That'll be noon on Fox. Of course, Ohio State, number one. Ohio State we're not paying attention to them because of situations like this.
Yep.
They haven't been tested. Say we have. I mean, they played Texas to open the season, and we all were like, hey.
Like, now that doesn't tell us much.
Yeah. And you look at their schedule. It's Purdue next week, UCLA, Rutgers, and then Michigan. They're going to cakewalk to the Big Ten championship game and a playoff berth, by the way. They're going to get a playoff. Yeah. They're going to the playoffs. And we don't who are they?
I think we'll learn something about them in the Michigan game.
Well,
Michigan's better than they were a year ago. And
that game's in Ann Arbor.
The game's in Ann Arbor, and again, that's been the Achilles heel for Ryan Day. So that is a game where we can have some things exposed about Ohio State. But you're right. They've played, the best team they played was Illinois, and they handled that game without too much of a problem. It's the only game they've allowed more than 10 points in, by the way, this year. But yeah, this weekend was supposed to be, and by the way, when you look at the slate of this weekend's games in the preseason, like Ole Miss, South Carolina was supposed to be a ranked matchup. Ohio State, Penn State was supposed to be 1 versus 2. A lot of us thought. Georgia and Florida was supposed to be a big ranked matchup, and all those have fallen to the wayside. The exception being Oklahoma and Tennessee. But yeah, this was supposed to be the game that this is where Penn State Ohio State really gets tested by a good Penn State team. It's in Ohio, but we'll see. But yeah, now Penn State is nothing. Since they fired James Franklin, how much of Penn State have you watched?
No.
Exactly.
I don't even know who's doing the coaching. I don't.
What, Terry something?
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
One of the position coaches.
Yeah, I don't know. And we really miss out on trying to see if big game James can win a big game this week. We really are all losers now.
It'd be funny. It'd be really funny.
They win
after they fire him. Wouldn't that be hilarious?
Virginia Tech would be like, oh, jeez. Ohio State, 20.5-point favorite in that. You got Ohio State covered?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, you mentioned all those games that were supposed to be ranked matchups. Of course, you failed to mention the one that we all knew was coming. Number 9, Vanderbilt at number 20, Texas this week. And again, raise your hand and then go buy lottery tickets if you had Vanderbilt being ranked 11 spots or just ahead of Texas. That game will be in Austin. Vanderbilt gave a game last year. Texas is a 3.5-point favorite. I'm going to pick Texas in this game. We'll do this again tomorrow. We're not really picking games right now, but I'm just going through some of them. But Texas, Texas is kind of like Ohio. Texas is just hanging around, man. They're just hanging around.
Important to note, we don't know if Arch Manning's going to play or not.
Yeah, concussion
protocol.
He's
in concussion protocol, so we're still uncertain on that, which could obviously be a big deal here. But listen, man, I want to see how far this Vanderbilt thing can go. This is one of the most improbable stories we've seen in a while in college football. I want to see him make the playoff just out of pure curiosity. And winning this game against Texas wouldn't lock him in, but it put him a whole lot closer.
That's Miami and SMU, by the way, also at noon on ESPN. And then, of course, Duke Clemson at noon on the ACC network. The 3:30 slate. Texas Tech and Kansas State. Texas Tech had a little bit of the shine taken off them after their loss. The other 3:30 game, again, Georgia and Florida, but Florida essentially, I don't know, the injury report, availability report that came out last night for them, half of their team is gone.
Well, this is the first time we'll see them since firing Billy Napier, so
very true.
How motivated is that team? Because, again, we give credit to Napier. He never lost the team. They never gave up on him, even last year. So, now that he's gone, they say, all right, 4 more games, let's go through the motions and get this thing over with.
3:30 is kind of a pumpkin patch game or taking naps.
You say that, and that's when something crazy is going to happen.
Well, here is one thing you can watch. 3:30, CBS. We don't like Maryland, and we never liked Maryland. We didn't like you anyway, Maryland. We don't like you. We don't like your crab cakes. We don't like your coach, Mike Loxley. There's nothing about you we like. You're stupid. You're dumb. Your College Park's bad place. It's awful. I would never send my kids there. I'm joking. Settle down.
Did Jay have a kid there?
I think so. Yeah. Except for Jay.
Except for Jay.
Indiana plays them. We're all pulling for Indiana to put 70, right?
And I have no doubt that they probably will.
Indiana just bludgeon them into the ground on national television.
And we get a signature shot of Kurt Signetti when they're leading 77-0, just looking so angry
Yeah.
in the fourth quarter.
Yelling at Fernando Mendoza for doing something. Yeah, Indiana, number 2 Indiana, Maryland. Again, that 3:30 slate: Notre Dame, Boston College, Texas Tech, Kansas State, Georgia, Florida. We just mentioned, but not a whole lot else going on. We'll give you a little bit of the night slate and wrap up hour number 2. Hour 3, again, we'll get into a lot of this South Carolina Mississippi game and talk about what the coordinators had to say yesterday. You're listening to the Halftime Show. 150 as we wrap up the hour here on the halftime show is giving you the rundown of the weekend that will be, as Tyler said, you kind of expected maybe some bigger games. You get a pretty interesting start to the day. See if Penn State and Ohio State can perform anything. And Vanderbilt, Texas will be the game really kind of the day. Game day, college game day, which, by the way, I know a lot of people, for whatever reason, just don't like college game day, or you don't watch, or you put it down, or whatever. Game day's having their best ratings, and it's not like close in years. Like, game day is, I maybe you could say, Tyler, having a resurgence. They're having a rebirth. I don't know, but if you haven't seen the numbers, like, I think it's something like 7 of the last 9 shows have been the best 7 shows of like the last 5 years or something. Yep. I mean, this year has been an incredible year for college ESPN College Game Day. Yeah, it sounds about right. And look, we all love Lee Corso, and we all got his nice proper send off at the beginning of the season. But and look, for a lot of us, it's background noise while we're doing things in the mornings, and then you kind of lock in towards the end of the show as they're making picks and stuff like that. But my experience of what game day is hasn't really changed. The people on the show have changed, obviously, over the past handful of years, but it's still game day. And look, I love what Pat McAfee's brought to the show. The kicking challenge is something. If I'm in another room and I hear, hey, it's time for the kicking challenge, I go in there to see it because I want to see if some college kid can make $100,000 or whatever Pat McAfee's putting up for grabs. And we don't have the headgear pick, but McAfee does something silly at the end of the show that kind of springs you into whatever the noon games are, which I'm fine with. You still got the celebrity guest picker and all that kind of stuff. So it's still game day. I mean, and some of the people have changed, but I still enjoy the show as much as I ever did.
Did you guys see the ratings for Alabama and South Carolina?
It was the best game of the weekend, right?
Yeah, yep. Best in one of the top 10 of the season.
Well, a lot of people watched you, unfortunately, crumble there in the fourth quarter.
So
there's that.
We'd have mentioned that, but, unfortunately. Well, you know what happened. You were there. We've turned the page on it. 803-404-6100. Anyway, game day, and by the way, I make sure I catch the beginning. I don't know why. I don't know if it's the kid in me, the former college student in me. I don't know what it is, but at 9 a.m., I literally will wake up at 8:55 to catch just the and then watch for, I don't know, you're right, like the first 20 minutes.
You're in and out.
And then after that, I'm fixing breakfast or going to buy breakfast, or I don't know, whatever I'm doing.
I always enjoy how Reese Davis sets the scene.
Yeah.
Because that sets the tone for the show, is whatever his opening little riff is, and they pan the camera over the crowd, and then it goes into the theme song and all that kind of stuff.
McAfee's now the one that, McAfee's taken over the show.
He has.
I mean, he's
does the crowd chants,
which is fine, but which I really have no problem with. But anyway, at 9 a.m. I'm going to have it on to be watching. But anyway, they'll be at Cincinnati, Utah, which will be the ESPN game at 10:15. So good news.
Yep.
Carolina, Mississippi wrap up. You can catch Cincinnati and Utah in that game, and Cincinnati is quietly 7-1. And their own type of playoff contender.
Yeah, their only loss is that opener to Nebraska and Arrowhead, which, hindsight being 2020, that's a game they might not lose if they play, for a second time. But yeah, things still live there. The Big 12's wide open right now. Texas Tech wouldn't even be in the Big 12 championship game right now.
Can you imagine a playoff? Indiana, Vanderbilt, and Cincinnati is 3 of your 12.
No, I can't. I wouldn't have imagined it before the year.
Where that's happening, right?
It's very close to happening.
And then it'd be even more fun. Throw Navy in there.
Heck, please sign me up.
Throw Navy as 4 of your 8. That's 7 o'clock. I mentioned obviously South Carolina, Mississippi, the 7 o'clock ESPN game. Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's number 8 in the country. I left Georgia Tech out. I mean, look, who do you like in the ACC? Hey, Miami. I know Miami's number 10.
Yep.
But Georgia Tech's number 8 right now. And are they the best team in the ACC?
Well, they haven't lost.
It's kind of like we don't give them credit for what they have done.
Yeah, because a lot of their wins are kind of ugly.
Yeah.
Right? They've had to come from behind.
Yeah, Haynes King runs it.
Yeah, they should have lost to Wake Forest if they called it an offsides correctly on that one, but they don't do it with a lot of flash and pizzazz. So I don't think we give them as much credit as they probably deserve because of the way they win some of these games.
Just for the record, your ACC championship game is Georgia Tech, Virginia right now.
Yes, it is, as we all would have predicted in the offseason.
Yeah, Pitt's 4-1, Louisville's 3-1, SMU's 3-1, Duke 3-1, and Miami's 2-1. But yeah, there's kind of your evening slate. Oklahoma, Tennessee's the big one, and Southern Cal, Nebraska is the helmet game. We'll come back. Hour 3. A lot of South Carolina, Mississippi talk. one final hour on a Thursday, and then we'll turn you loose. Let you get ready. Maybe you're going ahead and just maybe you are. Maybe people take Halloween off. Do they just go ahead and be like, man, especially on a Friday, Tyler, especially on a Friday, because come on, if you're single out there, or you don't have kids, I should say, you don't have to be single. If you don't have kids, and I know some of you that still have kids and have your big family, your big neighborhood parties over there, and the kids are running around wild, hopped up on Three Musketeers and Snickers. But, I mean, you're gearing up for some party on a Friday. Halloween on a Friday, truthfully, all of a sudden rivals in terms of, like, parties.
Sure.
St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like a Halloween Friday. Like even Saturday's a little more, yeah. But a Halloween Friday where you basically, especially if you don't have kids and you have 2 days to recover and it's a away game for South Carolina tomorrow, like your Halloween Friday night probably about to be somewhat, and if you're doing the dressing up thing, I know you're getting even crazier.
Oh, yeah. No, it's the most holidays being on Fridays is usually
very true.
A good thing. So, yeah, Halloween definitely up there. We went out and did some stuff on Halloween last year on a Thursday, and it was kind of, it's kind of dead. So, yeah, I imagine Friday Halloween's probably going to be pretty fun.
Yeah, Friday. So, I don't know. What are you? A lot of you taking tomorrow off because you're just going to, like, start it at noon? Like, you can listen to us at noon. We'll get you going at noon. You just tune in at noon. We'll have
some candy debate.
Yeah, we're going to try and wear costumes. I got to hit a Halloween spirit after this. Tyler said I don't have to make quite the effort.
Listen, I'm going to throw my costume together from things that I already have.
All right.
So don't go out there and buy something if you don't have to.
Yeah, all the radio money I'm currently earning. I'll see what I can get together. But yeah, no, we'll have a show for you obviously tomorrow. If you're taking the day off, tune in. Brian Edwards tomorrow at 12:15. Man, oh man, tomorrow night. I say that if you are a Dutch Fork fan or an Irmo fan, or you got a student, or a player or a cheerleader, or you're an administrator, oh my goodness, what a game that's going to be on Friday night here in town, Dutch Fork and Irmo. And we'll have Chris Deering to preview that tomorrow, because I got to admit, that might be one of the most. Last year was huge, and we got all excited. Irmo Dutch Fork tomorrow night might be one of the most anticipated high school games I can remember, especially regular season games I can remember in this Midlands area in quite some time. So I'll look forward to that. So again, Chris Deering tomorrow at 1:15 and Brian Edwards at 12:30. Also tomorrow night, while you're having your Halloween party, World Series, and we talked about it. The Blue Jays have roared back. I didn't see this coming. They lose the 18-inning game. I thought it would take everything out of it. It looks like it's taking everything out of the Dodgers.
Yeah, it's a bit. Look, baseball's weird that way. You can be the best team, most expensive roster, and all it takes is having an off day or one pitcher getting hot for things to go the other way. And again, Trey Savage last night goes out there and throws a gem for a guy. There are guys that have, pitched in multiple postseasons over many years and decades that didn't have performances like Trey Savage had in his first ever World Series start. Which credit to him, and obviously great night for the Blue Jays last night, and now they have a chance to win the whole thing coming back home on tomorrow and Saturday.
And I'm pulling for them. Team hadn't done it. None against the Dodgers too. You're right. That's the crazy. That's really we've said this. That's really kind of, to me, and I could be wrong. A couple of you I totally get. You could be just completely anti-Dodgers, and I get it if you're a Braves fan or whatever. As we mentioned, Dodgers buying up anybody and everybody and built that roster there through money, but they're likable. Like they
are.
And I got to admit, the other night, I don't know what inning it was. It was late. It was the 12th or the 13th or the 4th. I can't remember. But and then I don't know if you were awake for this. They brought in Clayton Kershaw with the bases loaded. Were you still awake for that?
No, I found out about that when I checked the box score the next morning.
All right, and I'm getting old, and I'm emotional, and I'm a sucker for like stories. And Clayton Kershaw seems like okay. I don't know him, but seems like a genuinely good guy. And this is the end of his career, and he's been phenomenal, and so forth and so on. And he gets out of the bases loaded jam, and he pumps his fist. And he goes off, and I think it was Joe Buck or Joe Davis. I don't know which one. And they made the comment that I didn't think about, but the way they said it was that was probably the final pitch of his career.
Yeah, probably so.
And it was just like, man, that, you know, like you kind of said, like, I was kind of like, that's such a way to go out. You get the bases loaded out, but 2 outs, you get out of the jam. And again, I forget if it was the 12th, 13th, or 14th, but I was just a sucker for that kind of storyline that was it. And they're showing his wife in the stand, and she's, I think, boo-hooing and whatnot. And I'm just like, oh, my goodness, what a great – and they're just – he's likable. Betts is likable. We love Freddie Freeman. You know, even Shohei's got personality. It's
the fact that they are a brand that's been hated for a long time. They spend a lot of money because Major League Baseball allows you to spend a lot of money, so that's – they're not doing anything illegal. They just have a lot of money to spend, and they go out there and acquire some of the best talent. The running joke is when somebody, you know, is really good and their contract's coming up, oh, well, they're going to be a Dodger. Like, if you told me Paul Skeens was going to be a Dodger when his rookie deal's up with the Pirates, I believe it. But isn't that what we always said about the Yankees? Yeah, it is. And again, now you have the same situation here with the Dodgers. And again, they won the World Series last year, have just as good of a team this year, and it could be, they got to come back, obviously, but could do the same thing this year as well. But yeah, for the individual players themselves, and again, we have more of a closer connection because Freddie Freeman was such a long-time Brave, but like, I like when Freddie Freeman's have success. I love watching Ohtani because he's just a unicorn of a player. You know, Betts, Kershaw, like all these guys seem like genuinely good dudes. Like there's no Bryce Harper on that team who, you know, is maybe a little over the top, a little arrogant, where it's easy to hate type thing. I like Bryce Harper, but I agree with you. But a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't because of the way that he plays the game and celebrates and all that kind of stuff. They don't have one of those guys. Do we like Shohei Ohtani because he can't? I'm serious about this. I'm not being racist or anything or whatever. Because he can't speak English, so we don't hear him talk. Because he can't say anything. But I mean, like literally, because he can't be. If he wanted to brag about himself, it would have to come through an interpreter. But Shohei doesn't seem that way. Again, the New Balance commercial. But I'm just saying, because we don't get to hear Shohei Ohtani express himself like the other night after the game. By the way, it was Mookie Betts. Did you see Mookie Betts, his answer in the locker room on what he would think about when he went to bed? Yes, I did. If you didn't hear it, we had to pull the audio. They were asking him about who do you think about, Freddie Freeman or Shohei or some pitcher, and he goes, I don't think about men when I put my head on the pillow. Fair point. Which was just a great answer. It was a hilarious answer in a serious interview situation. But and again, the Dodgers are likable. But yeah, I just asked that about Shohei because we don't. Yeah. You don't hear what you don't. It creates this air of mystery about him. Right. Right. Where he's just this guy that goes out there, hits home runs, and pitches really, really well. And it's something we don't see one player do all of that in Major League Baseball anymore. So he's this unicorn of a player, and again, you just don't hear a lot from him because, again, he has to speak through an interpreter and all that kind of stuff, that he just kind of has this, mythicality to him, if that's the right way to describe it. I'm with you. That's a good way of saying it. 803-404-6100. So that's tomorrow night. Blue Jays can close out the series, and that a couple of y'all weigh in. One texter weighs in, and thank you for reminding us of this. Saturday night, Sunday morning, we get the extra hour. We get the time change. Oh. That's right. Oh, okay. Great. Dark early. Not happy about that. Extra hour of sleep, though. That is nice. You just completely ruined my weekend. Go dark earlier. Same texter says players are likable, but the fan base is not. And the next texter says Dodgers fans are the worst. Now, okay, if we're talking about fans, that's a different conversation because there are a lot of bad Dodger fans out there, but we're talking about the team themselves. That's different. All right. Let me get to some of these texts here. Earlier, I yelled at Maryland because they play Indiana. Texter weighed in. No crab cake slander. I do apologize. Crab cakes are delicious, just not from Maryland. Quarter weighed in earlier. We were talking coaches when we mentioned Matt Rule, kind of the news, the college football news of the day. Matt Rule signs a 2-year extension. From what I have read at this point in the day, that extension does not seem to include a major salary increase. It will take him over, but he's already set to make $8 million. It will take him slightly over 8, but there's not really a number that I see. It does say that now his buyout, if another school wanted to purchase him, you get the point. The buyout this season is $15 million now, which
was risen from $5 million.
Yes.
So the buyout went up $10 million. And now I'm reading earlier I was reading the On3 Sports article about this, and this is from Pete Thamel. And do you agree with this, yes or no? 803-404-6100. It says the extension includes an increase in Rhule's buyout this season to $15 million from $5 million. Thamel's exact words are, which would effectively eliminate him from taking another job in this cycle.
Because the price is too high?
Why do I feel like $15 million now is chump change if you want your football coach?
Because we've gotten to the point where money isn't real in college football anymore. Because, again, if Penn State and LSU are willing to pay $50 million for someone to go away, why couldn't somebody pay $15 million to buy out another coach? Like, again, and these are real dollars and cents that do have to be the transactions do have to happen. Money has to come from somewhere, but we're just kind of used to it's like, okay, they'll find it. You know, we talk about the LSU donors. They found, according to sources, $30 million overnight.
If you want your coach gone or you want a coach, the money magically appears. I mean, again, Texas A&M, oil money, I know, but they wanted Jimbo gone. $70 million or whatever it was. All right. Penn State wanted James Franklin gone. $49 million. All right.
Yep.
Here it is. Brian Kelly, you're not one of us. Rightfully so. $54 million.
And there are certain...
Although now that comes with stipulations from the governor.
There are certain schools in that upper echelon of the sport that we just assume have unlimited deep pockets, right? LSU, Texas. I don't know if I'd throw Penn State in there, but sure, if they're going to pay $50 million for James Franklin to go away, why not? Or we just say, okay, they'll find a way. Again, if they want to win bad enough and they think that Matt Rhule is the right guy, somebody or a small group of people will find the money to cut that check to buy him out.
And by the way, you're saying Penn State, and we link him to Penn State because he's a walk-on linebacker there. That's his alma mater. And again, Thamel says this extension essentially takes another prominent name out of contention for the 8 power conference jobs that have opened so far this year. Again, I don't, $15 million? Boy, you're right. Boy, are we numb to what's going on. For the record, Rhule right now is making $8.5 million. It escalates each year by 2030. And here's to the bottom of this. By 2030, he will make $12.5 million. The extension does not change that. He will make $12.5 million during the 2 years of the extension, 2031, 2032. Obviously, that could change if he wins. This is, by the way, at Nebraska. We should be very clear about it. Yeah. Obviously, this is the contract at Nebraska. But yeah, it's $15 million. But anyway, Matt Rhule signs an extension today. They get Southern Cal this weekend. I mentioned that. Nebraska is 6-2. That's the kind of college football news of the day. All right, when we come back, we will get into the South Carolina-Mississippi game. You still got your Trinidad Chambliss stats from yesterday?
I do. Yes, I do.
We're going to get into that, and we're going to compare the South Carolina offense. Have we held the South Carolina offense to too high a standard this year? That'll probably upset some of you. But have we? I don't know. I'll explain why maybe we have when we come back. You're listening to the Halftime Show.
Yeah, we've pretty much done the same thing all year. We've had the same volume. We have a certain amount of plays per section. First and second down plays. We've had a certain amount of plays in that area. Third down plays. We have plays in that area. Red zone plays. And then other little situations that come up through the game, we have a certain amount of plays, and kind of it's been pretty consistent all year. Now, whether or not we call them all, no, but we practice them all.
Good. It's good. Because the last coordinator, I believe, they ran a play against Georgia that I believe it was Josh Vann said we hadn't practiced that one in 4 weeks, if I remember correctly.
They're at least
something
at least
to that
practicing.
Effect. Slight. I don't know if that's a contradiction of what Shane Beamer said on Tuesday about you got Mike Shula there saying, no, it's pretty much the same. But then he admits maybe we don't call him. I don't know if I'm not sure how I kind of take that from him when he basically says, "No, it's all the plays are pretty much there." How did you kind of disagree with that?
Yeah, it's confusing because I feel like they're both kind of saying different things here. Where I think what Shula was trying to say was the process of the meetings and talking about everything was the same. Where Beamer was saying, well, we went through the same process, but we went to the farther step of taking things out, focusing on certain things. That's where I think maybe Shula didn't give us enough detail on what they did this week. I think the process being the same is what he's trying to make a point of, but it's very easy to misconstrue that as well. He's saying nothing changed on the offense when Beamer said it did. You see what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, because Shane's very clear that what did he say? They eliminated 10 to 15 plays.
Yeah,
or he said maybe they're down to 45 to. He said 10 to 15, and it took it down to about 45 to 60 is the math we did.
And he mentioned they had their handful of plays for openers that he said, hey, when these are working, let's keep doing those. Which we did see a lot more of that on Saturday than we had early on this year. So like our eyes backed up what Beamer said. Like, we could see there was something different about the offense. They looked better throughout the game on Saturday, so that makes sense. And, again, I think Shula is trying to say the process of getting there was similar, even if other things did change with what they ultimately went with game plan-wise for Saturday.
So let me ask. I have thought about this. Now, there's two different sides to this. Should we expect more? Yes. Yes, we should. Good Lord, should we offensively expect more? And I don't care what you're returning and what you're not returning. You should expect more. But I say that, and I say hold the offense to a higher standard. And maybe I misworded that because, again, Tyler, should we expect more than the most points you've scored in a game offensively is 22? Yes.
Yes, of course.
There's no doubt about that. But I do. We kind of gave the defense a pass for getting 5 guys drafted. And the offense didn't have any guys drafted, but give me a second and I'll circle back to that. The defense gets 5 guys drafted, and we're all kind of like, well, it's going to take some time for them to grow. They gotta kind of come together and gel. Well, the offense lost 5 major contributors. Mm-hmm. Conceivably, one of the top running backs in the league, and you definitely didn't replace him. And I'm not, look, that's on the fault of whomever recruits running backs and however they go about doing that. No offense to Rasul Faison, he's a good back, but you didn't replace Rocket Sanders. I know he didn't get drafted, but again, he is in the league. I don't know if you replace Josh Simon was one of the best tight ends in the league. I don't think we'll ever acknowledge that. But he was one of the best players. He was definitely one of the key contributors on offense last year, led the team in catches, and was definitely kind of the heart of that passing game with Lenore Sellers. And, again, as I mentioned, was one of the best tight ends in the league. And no offense to Brady Hunt, but you haven't replaced that.
No.
At all. And, again, when I say this, remember, it is on the coaches to go out and find people. Now, maybe – I don't know. Was Michael Smith supposed to be that guy, and he either A, didn't put in the work, he B, can't do it, C, he wasn't utilized properly? Okay, again, I'm okay with wherever you want to go and whom you want to blame. But my point there is you lost those. Those were 2 massive. And then we forget you lost your 3 interior linemen. And we can say Lonnie Teasley this and Lonnie Teasley that. And it's probably true because if you've seen the number, they'll come out, these little Pro Football Focus grades. Torricelli Simpkins is actually doing fairly well in New Orleans on the offensive line. And I'm not sure we'd have looked at him last year and be like, oh, yeah, that's an NFL starter on the offensive line. But he held his own.
The funny thing was we didn't really talk about him last year because he was usually doing his job pretty well. Which,
exactly.
For an offensive lineman, if
Also
you're not being talked about, that means you're probably doing something good up front there. And, yeah, maybe we didn't. And I think the reason why is because we looked at 16 as the ultimate fix for all that.
Let me finish this real quick.
Okay, all right, go
because
ahead.
not only that, then you lost your center, Rashawn Lee, who, again, is kind of making it in the NFL.
Yeah.
You know?
And look, especially somebody as experienced as he was, that's valuable. That
Right.
is hard to replace.
And he'd been around for about 19 years.
Yes.
He literally had played, I mean.
Well known was my favorite player.
Yeah.
That was my running joke.
I don't know what happened to our Garnet Trust board behind us, but his name was.
I think it's behind the stand to repeat.
Okay. It was up there forever. Yeah, he'd been around for a long time. And then Kamar Bell just quietly did his job. He's not in the NFL, but was kind of a key contributor. You lost your 3 interior linemen, and we all are like, wow, why can't they run up the middle now? Okay, again, did they not replace them? Well, that appears obvious. Therefore, yes, you hold the coaches at fault on that. But I guess I go back. Because of what you were about to go to and what you're going to say, because there's number 16 out there where we're just like, oh, yeah, this offense isn't skipping a beat. They're going to be bleeping incredible this year and just go up and down the field on everybody.
Yeah, I think we build so much of what offenses are supposed to be around what we project the quarterback to be. And look no further than Texas. Texas has a terrible offensive line. And I'm not saying that Arch Manning behind a great offensive line would suddenly become Tom Brady. I don't know that. But he's not getting a lot of help with the poor offensive line play up front. You know, his receivers are dropping passes, those kind of things. Like, he's not getting the help around him he needs, and that's not the whole reason why he's struggling, because he's making some bad decisions too, but it's not helping him out. And Sellers, as great of an athlete as he is, isn't getting the same amount of help around him from a year ago that he was getting. And again, I think we get in our minds that some quarterbacks are so special, you could put them out there with a bunch of fifth graders and then find a way to start winning football games, and unfortunately that's not the case. And again, I think we've had to relive that reality with Sellers this year that, well, he did need more help around him apparently.
Texter weighs in and says the difference is the defense got to pass and is still good because we have good defensive coaches. And I like this defense, and I think there's going to be in the offseason, you talk about things. Obviously, keeping Dylan Stewart is instrumental. But keeping Fred Johnson, keeping Justin O, continuing to build at that linebacker position, continuing to build depth, Gabriel Brownlow, Dindy. I mean, there's some players. The call it. And by the way, I do agree. Travian Robertson, and I don't know how much he's been missed on defense. I'm not sure because I don't just know the intricacies of the difference of him. I'm guessing he's been missed greatly.
Sure.
Being there in practice, doing it his style, as opposed to, no offense to Jordan Dove, but that. And then I think the linebackers got abused pretty good by Missouri and Vanderbilt, but they seem to have made plays and gotten better as the season's gone along. And then the secondary is the secondary. But with that being said, the offense, you know, and you look at it, and we now know one offensive coach is fired. With that being said, and Lonnie Teasley, you know, how much do you hold Markel Blackwell accountable at the running back position? Again, to me, you didn't replace Rocket Sanders. Now, Rocket Sanders was really good, but there's a reason last year there's been 4 years, 5 years if you count this year, and we know where South Carolina's at in rushing this year. There's been 5 years of South Carolina rushing game statistics.
Yep.
4 out of the 5, they've been in the very bottom half of the league rushing. Last year, they were, I think, 4th.
Yeah, last year was the anomaly. But, yeah.
And that was, again, now I look at those 3 linemen and Rocket Sanders and go,
That helps. That certainly helps. So, yeah, again, not getting a lot of help on offense. And, again, we'll see if last week was any kind of spark for anything, but who knows. Real quick for you at the break, by the way. I got a family 4-pack of tickets to give away. Women's basketball home opener coming up on Monday. That's this Monday, November 3rd, taking on Grand Canyon. Caller number four right now. Family four-pack tickets at 803-404-6100 to go see Dawn's team take on Grand Canyon on Monday.
Okay, yeah, that'll be Monday. Basketball season gets underway Monday. The women on Monday night, the men on Tuesday night, and call 803-404-6100, and Captain Dave will take your call, and you can win a family four-pack of tickets to see Dawn Staley's team tip off the season. We'll come back and get into the Ole Miss offense a little bit. Trinidad Chambliss, just how good is he? Tyler will tell you. It's the Halftime Show. 2:35 as we roll through. I forgot about this. How many of you have YouTube TV? What do you got?
I've got Spectrum.
Okay, you're good. You're safe. You're golden. I got YouTube TV tonight at midnight. If you're unaware of this, let me go back and read the tweet. This is Sports Business Journal. Disney and YouTube TV are at odds, and that's important because Disney has ESPN. And Disney could see its networks go dark on YouTube TV as their agreement expires at midnight, risking access to college and pro sports. YouTube TV, I've been perfectly, of course, I don't like change at all. And I've been perfectly happy with YouTube TV, even with a few of the price increases, and have not bothered to look around. It might be time for me to change that. But with that being said, I also have the ESPN Plus, not whatever the new ESPN thing is. I have zero clue what the new ESPN thing is, Tyler. But I do have ESPN Plus, so I would still could go to my app and watch like the Carolina Mississippi game and all that stuff this weekend. But
it'd be a couple more steps for you.
Yeah, annoying steps. But right now, just to read this, it says the issues as YouTube and Disney are confronting include the fees Disney wants YouTube TV to pay for ESPN and other channels. YouTube TV is already seeking similar rates, similar to what bigger distributors, Comcast and Charter pay. YouTube TV is also seeking shorter-term deals with programmers that run 1 or 2 years. So if you go to bed before midnight and you're watching ESPN and you wake up in the morning and you go to turn ESPN on for like Get Up or Sports Center or whatever it is, and you don't have it, so sad.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I feel like every 3 weeks we're talking about another media company, television network company or whatever that's at odds with Disney or Fox or whoever, saying, all right, well, they don't get it figured out. Guess what games you're not watching this weekend? And we as the consumer are the only ones that get screwed over in all this every single time while these two multi-gazillion-dollar organizations argue over essentially pennies.
Yeah. So just FYI on that, if you got YouTube TV, you either, if something does not happen here over the next roughly 11 hours, be prepared to either purchase the ESPN app or get the ESPN app or whatever you may need to watch South Carolina, Mississippi at 7 o'clock on Saturday night, plus any other ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN, I guess SEC Network, ABC football games on Saturday. That would be a Disney affiliation again. So just FYI on that. 803-404-6100. A good text message in, but I don't know if I agree with it. And I want to go back to this. And it comes from Todd. And he says, with all the excuses or reasons South Carolina uses for a poor offense, what's really sad is that we finally have a first-round quarterback and we are this bad. Teams dream of having a first-rounder. Does South Carolina have a first-round quarterback? I want you to really think about it. Does South Carolina have a first-round quarterback? I know what – I got it, and I will get to this. I know what Mel Kiper and mock drafts say. But does South Carolina have a first-round quarterback, or do they have a first-round talent that's got to develop a lot?
I think the latter is probably true because there are some guys that are undeniable because you see what they do in college, and then – the draft experts, the Kuipers, the Todd McShays, all those back up what you see by saying, hey, this guy, his measurables, team like this, team like that, make all the throws, all those kind of things, and they go on to be first-round draft picks. For Settlers, you're still getting the latter of that, which is all the experts saying, hey, this guy's still capable of going top 10, number 1 overall, or whatever it may be. But unfortunately, what you're seeing on the field isn't backing up. Now, again, he's made some plays this year.
Right.
He's made some plays that remind us of what he did a year ago, but you look at his numbers, and it's like, wait, is this the same guy from last year? And, again, he's only missed a half of a game. He missed the second half against Vanderbilt. That's it. But his numbers would suggest that he's been out for over half the season. 6 touchdowns, 3 picks, under 200 yards rushing, only 2 that touchdown on Saturday was only his second rushing touchdown of the year. The first one was on the opening drive against Virginia Tech. It doesn't makes sense to what we think of Lenore Sellers when it comes to offensive output.
Well, okay, but and I want to get to this Trinidad Chambliss thing, but and Todd got me thinking, and I really think that's a good text there. Are we talking about a quarterback who's a first-round projection because of his talent, because of how good he is right now, or how good he can be? Everything I've read, and I could be wrong on this, but everything I've read from every analyst, it's not how good he is today. It's how good he can be. It's the and that's I get it. That's Mike Schuler's job, and that's the offense's job. That's the offensive coordinator's job, and the quarterback coach, again, both Mike Schuler, to get that out of Lenore Sellers, to develop him, and to your point, those statistics, I personally give Lenore Sellers a break on that because it's not all his fault. He's got an offensive line that for 6 games couldn't have blocked you and I out there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's not on him. He's got 0 running game. Now, part of that is because defenses looked at Lenore Sellers and was like, I don't know if he can beat us with his arm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's going to hit some throws. He couldn't beat Missouri with his arm. Remember, think about it. He had 302 yards.
He did.
But he missed a pivotal pass down the stretch. He's missed some pivotal passes. Now, Lenore Sellers is talent-wise, has the potential to be one of the greatest to ever come through South Carolina.
Sure.
Okay? But if you were to compare him and Connor Shaw was not a first-round talent. But if you were to, and Connor Shaw had Steve Spurrier. But is Lenore Sellers a first-round quarterback based on what he's doing? No. Or based on who he can be because NFL franchises go, 6'3", 240, throws the ball 98 million yards and can run like the wind. I got to have that.
Now, I do think what he did last year garnered a lot of the attention that's led to him being projected this high. And maybe that's enough for them to go off of saying, hey, we know what he's capable of when he has this, and this around him, to where the stats this year don't necessarily matter. But, yeah, it's more of like he's a first-round draft pick at this point in time because of what his potential to do is at the next level, not necessarily what he's doing in college right now, which is frustrating because you do feel like it's wasting a year.
Well, they're not developing him. I'm sorry for being negative, but no, he's no different today. He's no different today, in my opinion, or he looks no different than the dude I saw against Old Dominion last year. Now, he, against Clemson, against Missouri and Texas A&M and Clemson, he did look different. He had gotten better. He doesn't look that way today. He looks uncomfortable. He does miss throws. He misses open throws. He doesn't see the field. You and I saw the second to final play against Alabama. Whether they had a chance or not, we'll just say it's irrelevant. You pointed out the other day, the game was on television in front of us. He drops back. There's 29 seconds to go. Brady Hunt is, what do you think, 20 yards from the sideline?
Something like that.
Well, 20 yards. And Brady Hunt, by the way, turned the ball upfield, which I just thought that a whole other thing.
A lot of things went wrong on that play.
But what did he have? You saw it. You said, what's on the right side?
He had Oscar Attaway open right about a yard short of the line of scrimmage, or the line to gain, so he could have caught it, got over. That would have stopped the clock, saved about 10 to 12 seconds. And, again, who knows what happens at that point. But he was already looking at Hunt on the left side, where he, I guess, did not even see that option for Oscar
Attaway on the right side. And as you said, and he was, 3 steps from the out of bounds. Would have caught it, picked up the extra yard, stepped out of bounds for an 11-yard pickup. And you're right, that doesn't mean South Carolina. Oh, no, South Carolina.
But that at least buys you a couple of extra plays, maybe.
We know that Lenore Sellers has immense talent. Talent that is God-given and that most will never have. It's got to be developed. 803-404-6100. We'll wrap things up. Well, I will stop talking, and Tyler will tell you Trinidad Chambliss' stats. It's the halftime show. Bill Gunner from Mid-State Roofing. Oh, the rain is finally behind us. My gosh, that was just gloomy and miserable and dreary. And you know what? If you found a leak in your house, and there was a lot of rain too, and it was heavy at times. If you found a leak in your house, boy, you think gloomy, miserable, and dreary was the words. You better have called Mid-State Roofing. Well, if you didn't find a leak, that's great news. Maybe you want to go ahead and protect yourself for the future. Mid-State Roofing is there for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they are roofing the entire state. So I don't care where you're listening at this afternoon. Mid-State Roofing is there. You just got to give them a phone call, 803-356-1919. It doesn't matter what time of day, 12 a.m., 2 a.m., whatever. Mid-State Roofing is ready to help you with an on-call technician or a Mid-State Roofing employee. 803-356-1919. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. All right, let's wrap this puppy up here so we can go start the party for Halloween and then come back tomorrow. How's that sound for you?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, I've teased it for 2 days, 6 hours. Then I haven't let you talk about it. You worked hard. You worked so hard. You got Trinidad Chambliss numbers, and I just have played ninja defense all over your great numbers, and I totally apologize. But you want to, we got a few minutes left. You want to get into a little bit of what you've seen from him as we just talked to Lenore Sellers.
Yes. If you've watched any Ole Miss this year, you'd say that, well, Trinidad Chambliss pretty good. For perspective, he did not start the first 2 games. Austin Simmons did against Georgia State and Kentucky. He came in at the very end of the Kentucky game and didn't have to throw any passes, just ran the ball a couple times, handed it off, and they won that game. But he started the last 6 contests for Ole Miss and all those against quality opponents, including Tulane and Washington State. Not quite at the same level, but still not like playing FCS teams. So 5 mostly quality opponents. And in that time frame, in those 6 games, he's averaging 300 passing yards per game against those opponents, 9 touchdowns, 1 interception. Here's the thing, though. He's only got 3 turnover-worthy plays. So it's not just that he's only thrown 1 interception. He's only put the ball in harm's way. This is per Pro Football Focus 3 times in 6 total games so far this year. I go back to our conversation with Yancey Porter yesterday where he said he's a really good RPO quarterback, even though Austin Simmons may be faster, but his processing of being able to make those split-second decisions, do I hand it off, do I keep it, or do I throw? He's a whole lot better at that. Watch his tape from last week against Oklahoma. You can see him run that play effectively over and over and over again with all 3 variations of that play taking place. Really good downfield thrower. Listen to this stat. On throws 20-plus yards down the field, he is hitting 55% of them. He is 16 of 28 on throws of 20 yards or more. That's really, really good and backs up what we see on tape as well. Good runner, as I mentioned, can pull the ball when he needs to. Ran for 112 yards against Tulane. Scrambles when he needs to, has Sellers-S-type runs. They don't get pressure on him a lot. That's a good offensive line. He's only been pressured on 22% of his dropbacks so far this year. Like, this guy is going to be a problem on Saturday.
I mean, again, give all 300-yard games, all six.
He's averaging now. He didn't hit over 300 yards in all those. He was just under. He had 263 against Georgia, 253 against Wazoo, but he's averaging over 300 yards against the 6 opponents he started against.
Now, how much credit? This goes back again to the Lenora Sellers conversation a bit. How much credit is that to Trinidad Chambliss? He deserves some.
Yep.
And how much credit is it to a coach who appears to be able to take popsicle sticks and build a quarterback who's going to throw for 300 yards in Lane Kiffin? Like, because, again, Lenora Sellers has all these. And, again, one thing you just mentioned.
Sure.
Big stat there. What was the percentage of times he's been pressured on dropbacks?
22%.
Okay, massive change.
So less than a fourth of the time.
Massive, massive, massive. And that cannot be understated when it comes to what Lenora Sellers has had to do and deal with this year. And I just, that's not on him. But to your point, where do we draw the line in? Dude's uber talented. Coach is really good at getting the most out of his quarterback.
There's a mix of everything in there, much like, again, it's not just because Sellers isn't playing well. He doesn't have a good offensive line around him. We have play callers maybe not getting the most out of Lenora Sellers. That's part of the reason why he's struggling. Where Trinidad Chambliss in a perfect – if Sellers was in the Ole Miss offense, I have no doubt he could maybe do even better than what Chambliss is doing through 6 games as of right now, because he would have everything at his disposal to use around him.
No, just a better offensive line.
Better offensive line in general would probably do wonders. So, yeah, it is all encompassed in that. But this is a very talented guy. And again, we talked about it yesterday with Yancey. He's brought as a depth guy, right? They probably got him for pennies on the dollar in the portal. If they
cost him a plane ticket. Have you heard the story? Did you hear the story?
No, I did not.
One of the so I think they told this story last week, I believe is what it was on game day. It was I saw it the other day, and they were saying essentially one of the GAs, one of the people that
about where they noticed him on tape. Yeah, I heard
that's all
story.
They saw on tape.
Right,
and
they were
took it.
Like, hey, we got to get Lane in here to make sure to confirm what we're seeing.
Yeah, and Lane literally was like, get him on a plane down here. And, I mean, the kid had nowhere else to go. He was like, what was he at?
Ferris State.
And basically, they said Trinidad, basically had made his decision on the plane. Oh, I'm going to Oxford. I'm going to Mississippi.
It's the only team that was interested.
Right. But, I mean, yeah, it's a crazy story. It just goes to show you. And that's why I think you wonder, but Lane Kiffin obviously has proven himself as a quarterback whisperer and what he's been able to do with those guys. And it'll be a tall, tall task to slow down Trinidad Chambliss. Clayton White, though, he's been good at it. He's not – I like Clayton White. It'll be a fun matchup. We'll talk a lot more about this tomorrow. Brian Edwards at 12:30. Chris Deering to break down that huge Irmo Dutch Fork game. 80s movies, baby. All right.
The best.
Whatever. And the movie It by Stephen King stinks. Bill Gunner for the Mortgage Guru, Jacob Crowder, and First Palmetto Bank. Here we are. This is it. We're wrapping up October. Just a little more than 60 days until the start of 2026. And so you start to think about these things, about what you're going to do next year. You start to think about, how should I handle things? And one of those might be with your home. Maybe you're thinking about refinancing. Interest rates dropped yesterday. Who knows what you could end up saving? You know how you find out? You call the Mortgage Guru, Jacob Crowder with First Palmetto Bank. That's right. You give them a phone call, 803-719-1005. You call him today. You ask about interest rates. You ask what you can save. You ask what your down payment would be. Maybe you're thinking about purchasing a new home or even building a new home. They have some great options that can save you money, but you won't know until you call. 803-719-1005. Call him. He's the Mortgage Guru, Jacob Crowder.